Good morning and welcome to the latest episode of the Disabled Guy podcast. I'm your host, the Disabled Guy. So, in this episode, I want to talk to you about relocating and moving to DC. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and the same people that came from different areas and really didn't get the true feeling of they were explaining relocating in DC. I mean, they get their own opinion, but I was born and raised in DC, so I could give you a little more insight about moving here, living here, getting around, accessibility, and things like that of that nature. So let's jump right into it. Again, with the real truth about relocating to DC and the DMV area. All right, so here we go. All right, so the DMV, first of all, let me explain it. Baltimore is not considered the DMV. Even though Baltimore is about 45 minutes away from DC, it's still not considered the DMV. The DMV is Washington, D.C., Maryland, PG County area, Montgomery County, Charles County, and some people might say Anne Arundel County and stuff like that. But as you look on the map, and then you also have Virginia, North Virginia, I would say from Arlington, Virginia, where the Pentagon is, until almost about, I want to say Dulles Airport. So we have two major airports in the area. I want to say Ronald Reagan, and then we have Dulles. And if you want to drive like 45 minutes to Baltimore, you could go out there. I think most of the time the flights out there are a little cheaper, but it's still like I said, this is all in the DC area. And when you look at I want to say Dulles and Reagan National Airport, you actually could get there on the Metro Transit system that's in DC. So that's another benefit about living in the DMV area. Um, and as you look down in the map, we got area codes 240 and 301. That's in Montgomery County. You have Rockville, Potomac, Silver Spring, Bethesda, and a lot of others. Gaithersburg, Damascus. I lived out there before about 20 years ago. So a pretty good area off of 270. I will say that the traffic is bad if you're going out that area. Well, actually, I would say if you're coming into well, either but if you go in both directions, I would say. I used to work out there after I moved from Gaithersburg back to DC. And if you would get on the road about 5 a.m., you'll be all right. But if you wait anything after 7 o'clock, it was like a 2 hour delay. So traffic was bad going towards the Montgomery County area and pretty much most of the DC area. But you also had Washington, D.C. 202 area code. And you have Prince George's County 240 and 301. A lot of different areas in that area, like Bladensburg, Greenbelt, Sea Pleasant, Capitol Heights, Upper Marlboro, up Oxon Hill, and Fort Washington. So if you look at the map right here, if you can see my cursor, so Oxon Hill, I want to say in Fort Washington, it's on the southern side of PG County. I have never really lived out that area. For me, I grew up on the north side of PG County. Well, I actually grew up in DC, but the last 10 years or so, I lived on this area right here, the Hyattsville, Bladensburg area. So for me, it was more about comfortability and familiarity. So I was comfortable out there. And most of the areas could walk the streets with no problem. I noticed as you get further out, like Fort Washington and Clinton, that's not on here. That's actually where my sister lives at. But you can't walk those streets. Sometimes you feel like you're in the country out there. So, and the transit doesn't run that often, especially on the weekends out there. So it's not something I would recommend. But hey, if you got a car, you might be up to it. And Upper Marlboro, I want to say a lot of upper class people live out that area. I know a lot of principals and just leadership in the county live out that area. And then you have Fairfax, Virginia, Alexandria, Annandale, Fall Church, Reston, and it's pretty much Northern Virginia. So with that, I would say living in a major area does bring crime, high taxes, and most of the time, poor schools and leadership. I know for a fact that DC in particular and Prince George's County, which is right here, all these are pretty much you could get within an area probably, depending on where you live, at about 10 or 15 minutes. At the max, 30 minutes, I would say. So I could go to DC from PG County in 30 minutes or something like that. But like right now, DC has a lot of bad schools and everything. Um, we pay high taxes down here. I'm not sure why we pay high taxes so we don't get a lot of good results when money isn't the issue down here. And like I said, bad schools and leadership that's running all this. So it's been pretty bad. As far as the crime, I would say growing up in DC, I was born and raised here. So growing up in DC was the murder capital of the world at one time. And that's probably was in the 80s and 90s and probably the early 2000s. We went through gentrification, and I want to say things got a little better, but now it's like um, crime is still picking up. I think last year we had 200 homicides, and this year we are already past 100 homicides. So, like I said, just something to think about when you come to this area. Like I said, you're moving to a major city, so just got to be aware of what's going on. So let's move on real quick. So employment opportunities are endless down here. I want to say they one of the best in the areas. I know people that came from New York, Boston, West Coast, South, everywhere, just to come here. And if you look at this image right here, we got the three major branches of government: the legislation, the executive, and judicial branch. And those are just regular federal jobs as far as the branches. But then we have like all the government buildings down here, like Department of Interior, Department of Energy, Department of Commerce, OPM, just a lot of different government agencies. And if you don't even want to work in the federal government, you got the local government and the city government that always have opportunities. You have the school system down here. You have a lot of great healthcare industries down here. You have John Hopkins that's 45 minutes away in Baltimore. Right inside the DC area, you have Georgetown, you have George Washington University Hospital. You have Howard University. So just healthcare, everything. A lot of things are different down here compared to other areas that I've been to. And I tell people all the time, we have never really experienced a recession down here in DC compared to other areas in the country like Nebraska, Idaho, Montana, just to name a few. Because, like I said, and I think I heard this the other day, if the government goes down, we go down. So we might have had those furlough days where they shut down the government shut down, I would say. But other than that, like things are always popping and going on down here. Like when the rest of the country had a recession, I want to say in 2008, 2007, people in DC, the DMV area was still shopping. So it didn't stop anything down here. I was going out with my boy to lunch, dinner, everything. Had full-time employment, everything. So the DC pays well compared to other areas, and just like I said, endless opportunities here. So if you're thinking about coming down here, employment definitely wouldn't be an issue for you. It just depends on where you want to go. And then we have places like Amazon that just came down here. They across the bridge in Northern Virginia. And you got other nonprofit industries, independent organizations that you can work at. And most of these jobs pay very well. So definitely I will look down here at the DC area when you come down here. Accessibility. So accessibility is one of the biggest things, especially for me as a wheelchair user. Um, right here we have Metro. That's the train system. Right here you have SUDC. So pretty much the Metro goes everywhere around the DMV area. Like I said, from Montgomery County, I want to say DC, and as far as Dulles. I haven't catching out Dulles, but hey, I've had people that go out there. If you're disabled, you can sign up for Metro Access with the per transit company. I think it's ran through Metro. You just got to schedule it a day before, um, by 4:30. They'll pick you up, take you anywhere you want to go within the DC area. We have Uber Wave down here. I actually called Uber yesterday. I had to make a run, take some stuff back to FedEx, and I was like, "Dang, I don't want to catch the bus." So I just like you do your normal Uber. You get on your phone, type it. They'll send the Uber Wave wheelchair vehicle for you. They don't have that everywhere in the U.S. I think they only have it in like 5 different places. I know DC is one. I want to say maybe somewhere in Texas, LA, maybe in Atlanta. I'm not sure, and maybe one or two other places. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely convenient for those that don't want to wait around and everything, and you just might want to get up and go spontaneously. We think that disabled people just sit around and wait for everything to come to them or wait somebody to do something for them, but that's not the case. And then if you look at the sidewalks right here, the streets are very walkable. If, like I said, if you're in the southern side of PG County, it might be an issue, but living on just living, especially DC, you can walk anywhere you want to go. And there's always a bus stop on each corner. Um, and if you don't want to walk, they have regular Uber. Train stations is pretty much close by. So you got still got taxis out here. So this is one of the most accessible places in the area. If you don't want to, honestly, you don't have to drive to work. You could just catch one of these plans. And then most of the companies, especially with the federal government, they give you a spending account for your transportation. So it's definitely something good to think about. So this is what I would say areas to stay away from in DC. I would say Southeast DC is one of the areas to stay away from. And it's certain spots in DC I would say that they haven't really got to yet. But Congress Heights area, that's a rough area, especially if you're moving down here and you're not familiar with the area. I would just stay away from there. Crime is very um up and going still over there. Stanton Road early area, Naylor Road, Suitland, District Heights. Um, are just to name a few. I know when I was growing up, my brother once told me, "Hey, do not hang out there. Anything could jump off at any time in Southeast." And Naylor Road and Suitland and District Heights are in the PG County area. So, but they bordered Southeast. So, like I said, they're a little rough out there. And if you're coming to this area, just be careful and try to stay away from the areas. And rent might be cheaper in those areas, but is it worth your life to pay cheaper rent to live somewhere that you can't really sleep at night or don't feel comfortable walking out during the street days? and just going for a walk, walking your dog, and going for a jog, or different things like that. So just something to think about when you're coming down to the DC area. But other than that, that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you on this episode of the Disabled Guy podcast. Like I said, I've seen a lot of videos that people talk about moving to DC or relocating to DC. And I didn't think they really gave you a good insight of how DC is and just the things that come with living here. Like I said, the cost of living is high down here. But I know a lot of people that move from New York and Boston and just everywhere across the states to come here for just better opportunities. And DC is very diverse when you come down here. Um, you got a lot of culture, everything, entertainment, and endless opportunities as far as things to do. So you never will get bored down here. Other than that, I'm the disabled guy. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I'm out.